Right, I thought I'd do one video on like makeup and lipstick and stuff like that. This was going to be probably the only one of these I ever do, but if you want to take a walk on the wild side, well, I've learned a few things that you might find helpful. The first thing we'll talk about, is lipstick. If you really want good, long lasting lipstick, this stuff rocks, I'll tell you. It's really difficult to actually get off. That's why I use, if you want to remove it, I use like Carmex. Um, Take your pick, or chapstick, works sometimes, or the, bliss stick, and this works with all lipstick, by the way. And then you use just like a napkin, from a fast food restaurant or something to wipe it off, and you'll probably take a couple of passes, but it'll come off. But otherwise, this stuff will last you like, a full day. You can go to bed with it on if you want, and yeah, it won't come off. Let's see, and I got this off Amazon here, and this is basically it. So, a little pricey, but boy, if you want lipstick that'll last, that doesn't get all over everything every time you take a drink out of a glass. This stuff is really good. I mean, you can actually have snacks and stuff like that, while wearing it, and mostly it won't come off unless you eat something, really greasy or something, because anything greasy tends to kind of remove lipstick, I've noticed. But that's, what gave me the idea of using, Bliss, Carmex and some things like that to remove it, because it works really well. So if you need it removed, you can get it off pretty quick. Another lipstick I sometimes use if you don't need it to last that long, and you can pick this up at like at Family Dollar, or your local dollar store or whatnot. It's really common, the Wet and Wild stuff. This isn't nearly as good as the other, but it does last fairly well. But if you just buy like regular lipstick, that shit is going to get all over everything, and just the waxy pin, kind of traditional lipsticks. I just they don't hold up well, and they get all over everything. And this is not half bad. I know you can get this at Dollar General too. But it's not half bad, but it does work. Especially if you're not going to wear it long. But if you want to, something that's really going to last, that other Maybelline lipstick is really good. Now, we can talk about this. This is something I found that was really awesome. This little shaver here, it's actually really excellent, and I almost exclusively use it to shave my arms. So it just, with regular shavers, let's see, like these right here, which these are what I've used pretty much everywhere else. These are a good deal. They're nice and sharp. This is pretty much where I buy my razors most of the time. Now, if you're going to use them on your legs and stuff, my advice is, if you're doing your underarms and stuff like that, you want to use a nice sharp razor. And doing your belly and stuff like that, a nice sharp razor helps too. So use it on those areas first, all right? And then once they get a little bit dull, you can start using them on your legs and, any place else. Especially so you don't cut up your knees or whatever, because that can be a real deal. You don't want to use a really sharp razor on your knees, but you could use a sharp razor on most of your legs, but you might get razor burn. So it's really good to, to kind of dull that out a little bit on some of the areas that you really do need sharp razors for. But yeah, I used to use these on my arms a lot, but boy, I'll tell you what, I used to cut the shit out of my arms for some reason, because you need a sharp razor, believe it or not, for your arms. I wouldn't think so, but you do. So yeah, if you don't have but a razor like this, yeah, I can go over my fingers, and just, pretty much everywhere without ever getting a nick or a cut or anything. So, and sometimes I'll use these on my knees, but overall, this works great for this. It's an awesome little razor. Sometimes I'll shave my face with it. But yeah, I mean, you can go over your knuckles and everything. I mean, but yeah, I used to cut all my arms up quite a bit trying to use razors because for some reason you got to use a sharp one. Even though, like I said, I don't really have a lot of fat on my arms or anything. But at the end of the day, yeah, if you don't use a sharp razor on them, you know, because as a rule, that's why I can use a dull razor on my legs because even though it's um, what's that? Oh, that's just a trick of the light. I thought I'd scraped up my knuckles or something, but I can't see it visually. But at any rate, but yeah, on my knees, it's you want to make sure you get a dull razor for that. But even the rest of my legs, if it's fairly dull, you can shave them just fine, and it's not that big of a deal. But but for some reason, arms, it takes a really sharp razor, especially to get those fine hairs and everything. But this thing really works awesome. Um, and the next thing I wanted to talk about is nail polish. Okay, and I just get these at like the dollar store or whatever. These LA Colors, and so what you do is certainly if you got nail polish, a lot of times when it gets like this, you can see that it's kind of coming off. I mean, usually I'll just try to sit there and fidget with it and you know scrape it off, and it'll come off fine. But if it's stubborn or new or whatever, what I'll do is I'll get some of one of these. This is like steel wool for washing dishes, and what I'll do is I'll run water into the sink and just sit there and kind of scrub them off under the running water, and this gets them off pretty well. And you might need to use a nail file, preferably a fine one, when you're done with it. But I never touch nail polish remover or anything like that because that just does not do a good job. It just smears everywhere and stinks up the place. But yeah, I mean, I never use nail polish remover. But like I said, mostly when your nails get like this, it just scrapes off eventually. Now I have used press-on nails too before, which are okay. It can be hard to find one, press-on nails in your size, but I do occasionally use them. But it's actually hard to keep them on there. I mean, it comes with like super glue and stuff like that. But you'd be surprised how much super glue. I mean, I could cover my nail with super glue and put those things on. I mean, as a rule with glue, less is better. So again, you really want a thin coat. But hell, I've tried spreading it all over the place, various thicknesses and stuff, and invariably those things will just pop off. I mean, they're actually really easy to remove. So if you didn't want to mess with nail polish, and you wanted, the different nails, like longer nails or whatever, yeah, you can go with the press-ons. Um, it really just takes some super glue. Some of them come with those little sticky pads. I've never really tried those, um, but yeah, it's surprisingly easy to get those things off. You really just have to pop them off. Like I said, it's harder to do if you've just recently applied them, but after they've been on for a few hours, I mean, you'll find that you lose them a lot because they'll pop off on you when you're doing whatever, and too, if they're too long, it's actually hard to pick stuff up and manipulate things, they're like picking up screws and stuff without them popping off. It's surprising, but hey, that's something you could try. If you don't have, don't grow your nails out kind of like I tend to. So I've grown them extremely long, but I try to grow them out, about this length or so. It's nice when you can get them a little longer, but invariably they'll get chipped or whatever, and that kind of sucks. But at any rate, what I'll do, once I've removed, old nail polish or whatever, and and you probably wouldn't, but I'll give you a little hint. Ever since COVID, I started wearing gloves, so everywhere, and it was a good policy at the time. It had nothing to do with any of this stuff. I just wanted to wear gloves along with my mask or whatever, so I didn't spread germs all over the place or get germs. And you know, I kept doing that even after COVID. But you know, one of the nice advantages of wearing gloves, you know, because it'll be like, you know, work gloves. I did buy some gloves off Amazon that are really awesome if you wanted to do something like this yourself. It might be kind of hard for you to do because COVID's gone, so more or less. Um, uh, Let me hold on. Yeah, but these gloves right here were, you know, really good because you can actually operate smartphones and stuff with them. So they're nice, you know. Like I said, oftentimes I'll use this work gloves. But anyway, that's one of the nice things about it is that if you wanted to leave your nails painted, well, if you're wearing gloves all the time, nobody will know. Now, of course, that might not be practical for a lot of people, but you know, hey, it works. That's why my nails are often painted. So now, you know, like this nail polish, you know, typically um, last, you know, like maybe a week or so before it kind of gets like this, depending on what you're doing. But, you know, like I said again, I bought this at the dollar store. And what you do is you know, you apply you know, a clear coat. You know, that's what this is, a clear coat to your nails, right? And you let it dry for like an hour or more. All right, and then you can apply your color coat on top of that and let that dry for an hour or more. Um, and then you can apply one last coat of clear coat and you get nice shiny nails. So, and if you happen to accidentally get some nail polish on your skin, you can wait for it to dry and just use a nail file to kind of scrape around it. Sometimes you can pick it off with your fingernail too, you know, if you know, get some on your skin. So, you know, that's one of the things I do. So, you know, you can go around it, you know, and just kind of gently scrape with the nail file, you know, a coarse nail file, and it'll pull that off pretty quick. Um, but at any rate, you know, that pretty much, um, you know, are just some of the tricks I've learned, you know, in dealing with this. And oh, by the way, if you paint your toes, yeah, those, you know, typically I'll redo my toes every couple of months or so, and just occasionally touch them up, you know, when there's a nail polish gets chipped or whatever. But you know, but they last a lot longer on my feet than they do on my, you know, fingers. So, but at any rate, yeah, I just wanted to do at least one little video on this just to, you know, give you some pointers, you know, again, if you're curious about such things. So, anyway, cheers.